Okay, so here we go. I'm about to click spin. Let's see where we land. Okay, it's looking like Promare. What's it? Oh. A silent voice. Okay, that's actually one of the ones that I wanted to watch.
All right.
Here we go.
Hey, I'm Gruff. I'm not so gruff. And we're the
GF Reacts.
Okay, so we've just picked the movie. We picked A Silent Voice, which I'm actually pretty happy about. I was pretty excited about Promare because it started to look like it might land on that one, but then at the very last second it went over to A Silent Voice, which I've already seen. So what do you think this movie is going to be about? What are your expectations going into it? Do you have any expectations? Tell me what you're thinking. Just off the title, without seeing the photos.
I don't know. A silent voice. It might have to do with somebody being silenced or somebody in trouble, maybe.
No, but kind of yes. I guess there's some elements of that. The reason why I wanted it to be Promare, not to cut you off, is because I haven't seen Promare yet, but I have seen A Silent Voice, so, you know.
I'd rather it be a silent voice because Promare, I don't even know what that word is, what that means, or what it could entail, but A Silent Voice sounds like a catching title.
Yeah, I have no idea what Promare is about. I haven't seen it at all. Okay, so here's the first image.
Okay, this looks like it's going to be a love story, maybe between this male and female.
What about the fish back there? It could be the rogue love interest, or love triangle, even.
They have an interest in fishing, and that's how they met. He looks very wary, and she looks very delicate, so...
Classic. Okay, here's the second image.
Looks like they're in their school uniform, so maybe they met from school?
Maybe. Any other thoughts on this picture?
No, other than that, he's, like, way taller than her, and so...
Okay, here's the third image now.
Maybe
you know what I'm noticing about these images? There's really not much to go off of these images.
Yeah, but it looks like maybe he's chasing after her, or I'm just gonna take a wild guess. Maybe he's some type of ghost or something like that, and he's trying to like reach out to her in like a different type of dimension way. I don't know. She looks very like she doesn't know he's behind her, and he's trying to reach out to her.
Well, that's actually an interesting point because it might be argued that she doesn't know he's behind her, but it's definitely let's just say it's an interesting idea. I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but okay. So we're about to go watch it, and then we'll be back after watching it to give you her, I guess, first thoughts on everything. So yeah. So basically how this is going to work is I'm going to ask Kennedy about her general opinions about the show, and then we're going to get into some more nitty-gritty questions like what you think about specific characters, what you think about specific ideas in the movie. So I guess my first question would be, what was your overall thoughts on the show, and what did you think of this movie overall, basically?
In the beginning of the movie, I was starting to like it. I thought that it was going somewhere, and then towards the middle and end, it kind of was boring me, and I felt like it really didn't go anywhere at the end.
Yeah, so that's a problem that I have with a lot of anime movies, is I feel like they never end in a satisfying way to me. Like, Your Name was the same way. It's like okay, so they met back up. What happened now?
What happened?
Yeah, and
are they going to be in love with each other?
Yeah,
or?
And this one's probably a worse culprit of that, because they literally just like go to this festival and then it's just totally open-ended. What happens?
I know, and it was some crazy story this whole time about him bullying her and then him trying to, make up for what he did in the past, and he ends up liking her, and it's a pretty good storyline. It just really ended flat.
Let me ask you this. What did you think about all of the suicide stuff? Did you think that it was a little overblown? What did you think?
I found that very interesting. Now that I think about it, that forest in, I think it's Japan, the suicide forest? I think suicide is a common thing in Japanese culture, whereas in American culture, you don't really see movies tend to a lot of suicide stories.
Yeah, I feel like also, I know that at least in the past, the rates for Japan versus the US, Japan had a much higher suicide rate. I don't know how it is now, so don't let me act like I know, but I know that in the past it was higher in Japan than it was in the US. Not to say that there isn't a lot of suicide in the US as well, but I think that you're onto something there. I almost never see in movies in the US, like in Western movies, I almost never see them bring up the trope or the idea of especially teenagers committing suicide. That's like almost never covered.
Exactly. That's not, you see all these shows and movies about teenagers dying of cancer, falling in love, and then the person they love ends up dying. Like, you see all that, but you never see that person committing suicide or them talking about suicide. Just very taboo here.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm making this up or not, but let me get your opinion. What did you think was the catalyst for her going to commit suicide in the first place?
To me, it seems like when you're the odd person out, say you have a disability or something like that, and you feel different from other people, you feel like if something happens, it's your fault. And I feel like that's what she was dealing with she would apologize for everything, and she felt as though everything was her fault, when in reality it wasn't. It's just people were being mean to her. And I feel like that's why she wanted to commit suicide. She felt as though it was better for her just to be taken out of the equation, not cause anybody any more harm or any more disruption, and she just wanted to end it all. And it's very sad to see, and that's one of the things in this movie I was most intrigued about, is seeing how it all unfolded.
There was this weird thing kind of going on in the background-ish of the movie, which I wasn't sure exactly like where it played in with everything else, but basically she goes to like a hearing aid or a hearing doctor with her grandmother, and then she gets some bad news. Then all of a sudden she starts wearing one hearing aid, so I think that means that she lost all of the hearing in one of her ears. And then she's at the fireworks show, and I don't think she could hear anything at all. So I think that she lost all of the hearing, and that's why I thought she was committing suicide at first. I was like, is she committing...
I mean, you could be onto something.
I don't actually think that's why she committed suicide, but I was just thinking, is that why she's committing, like, whatever happened?
No, I definitely believe she was committing suicide because she felt like she was always the issue. She was always the one that was
that one girl didn't help.
Problem. No, I know, and that was another crazy
that was over
thing.
The top.
I wasn't expecting, when you showed me pictures of this movie and names, I had no idea that something like this would come from that. I mean, I just didn't see Japanese movies being as normal as this, because bullying's a very common issue, and I just thought she was gonna have some crazy power, or she actually could hear people, but she was acting like she wasn't, and that she had some awesome power. And
do you feel like some of the bullying was over the top?
Yeah, I do, because a lot of that doesn't happen today. It's more online and things like that. But it was a little over the top, especially for middle schoolers, and then going into high school, you think they would have grown up by then.
I think they made it that over the top because they wanted to really like drive home why he feels so bad and why she's still kind of traumatized from everything, you know what I mean?
Did you also see in the movie how it was kind of flashing back to where he was getting bullied? Do you think, I couldn't understand that. That was a very confusing part for me. Do you think that he was previously bullied by those kids, so that's why he bullies her?
No.
Because now he's somehow gotten in with the cool kids, and now that's why he's bullying her. A lot of bullying comes from where you've been bullied, so then you bully someone else, and then that person bullies someone else, basically taking your anger out on something else.
I don't think that's what... I think it was the opposite of what you said, basically. I think that he was cool with them, and then whenever he pushed it too far with her, they were like, not cool, and like, now we have to alienate you.
Okay, I just couldn't tell at that
part. Right,
yeah,
because it gets confusing.
Very confusing. Yeah. It looked like it was bringing past and present, so I couldn't really tell. That was very confusing for me. I thought it was like what I said, but now that you're saying that, that kind of makes sense.
I want to get into the characters a little bit, so here, I'm going to pull up the characters.
Okay.
I'm just going to go down the top 4 people here, and you tell me what you think about them. So number 1, we have Shoko. What do you think of Shoko?
I was kind of upset that she didn't stand up for herself in any part of that movie. Especially when that girl was bullying her on the Ferris wheel. I just thought eventually she was going to have some type of breakthrough and end up standing up for herself, because the whole movie she hadn't been. So I was a little disappointed in that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just feel really bad for her that she has been bullied pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah, have you ever watched a movie that made you feel worse for a character?
Oh, yeah.
Like, jeez.
I was very shocked that they went that far in bullying.
Was there any point where you kind of felt like crying a little bit?
Not crying. It just made me think about the reality of bullying, and that actually, maybe not to that degree, but who knows, it probably does happen to that degree, just not as often, but it just made me very upset. I've personally never been bullied. I've personally never bullied anyone.
You bully me all the time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Don't act like you don't bully me on a daily basis.
But I felt really bad for her, and that this actually happens in real life, and it's not something to take lightly, and I'm kind of glad they did make a movie about this, showcasing it. But
you know, I had a deaf friend. He was my best friend in the end of my elementary school and the beginning of my middle school. He's my best friend, and people used to pick on him like that.
Really?
Yeah, people used to try to say stuff behind his back, and I would always be like, "What are you doing?" Like, I would just call them out immediately and like bring it to his attention that was happening, because he would have been none the wiser.
Yeah,
it was really messed up. So I can imagine this kind of bullying happening. And also, like, another thing that I really related to on a heavy level, which he always said bothered him about his past friends, is there's like multiple points in the movie where she says, "What are they saying?" And everybody's like, "Oh, nothing, nothing." He said that would bother the crap out of him because it's like, I want to know what's going on.
Yeah,
and I
want to
don't.
be in the loop.
Right. So like every time that he would ask me, what are they saying? I would like go into really great detail and tell him everything that was going on. But I feel like a lot of people would never think about that being one of the hardships of being deaf, is that you don't always know what's going on because you can't hear everybody.
And I remember you telling me something about that you tried to learn sign language. And,
Oh, I did. I know sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just was hard to see that she was trying to bring herself down to their level and try to write in a notebook when it would be much easier for them just to learn a little bit of sign language.
It's really
to
not
communicate.
hard to learn like a base level of sign language. Like it's actually much easier than you'd think. Actually, everybody that was in my class knew like enough sign language to communicate with him at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
So I thought that part was really sad. That was one of the saddest parts in the movie to me. Whenever she's like, "Hey, if you could all just learn a few signs," and they're like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah,
Aw, come on.
and they were like, it just would be very easy. And I was like, I just rather write in the notebook.
Hey, you know what? You know what I gotta say to them?
Pieces of shit. If I ever saw you characters in real life,
Yeah, I'd whoop your ass. Okay, so now what do you think of Shoya?
he had a lot of character development from beginning to end, and I was very happy to see that because no one should be defined and pinned to what they've done in the past. I believe anybody can change, and we should hold them to their most recent self. But before that, man, he was the worst person. I don't know if he's had any trouble in his home life, or I mean, he looked like he had a great mom and family, and it was just really upsetting to see that he was like that.
I think that a lot of people will lash out like that whenever they have some sort of insecurity of their own. And so I think that's what it was. I think that he had a lot of insecurity. I think it took him getting bullied to realize, oh my God, that's what I was doing.
I did to her. But towards the end, I think he was really trying to make his wrongdoings right.
You know what was one thing about the, not to get too far off of characters, but one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that people kept calling him out for like, you're only doing this to make yourself feel better. And I thought that was such an interesting like idea because like if you were just watching that movie, you would think, no, he's trying to right all of his wrongs. But all these characters like, no, you're just trying to make yourself feel better. That's all you're trying to do.
I see it in both ways because he also wanted to commit suicide, and I feel like that was just part of one thing he wanted to do before he could lay himself to rest. Basically, he wanted to be friends with her so that then he could, jump off that bridge.
He could die like in peace.
Yeah, he could die peacefully. And I feel like that's selfish because you're just trying to make yourself feel better to, put yourself out of your misery. But I feel like it became more of that. Maybe in the beginning it started as he was trying to make himself feel better and get to a place where he could peacefully, I don't think killing himself is peacefully, but I just feel like so he could end it all. Wow.
He could leave this world like in a better state than
than he was in. I was trying to make that sound as nice as possible, but it's very hard. Suicide is a very tough topic to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel as though towards, after he got past that point where he was trying to make himself feel better, it really did become about he wanted to be a better person and he wanted to show her that he had changed and that he wants to be her friend, and ultimately he ended up, liking her.
Yeah, and I think that there was also an aspect of which came first, the chicken or what is it? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg situation there, because I think that he wanted to make up with her and he wanted to like make himself feel better. So it was just kind of like a happy byproduct that he was feeling better. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then he ultimately came to like her, and same thing with her.
See, that's one of the things about this movie is that I love the way the characters are developed and I love the way the story is developed, but man, you're right, the ending I just wish
it was trash.
You know what we need? We need a Silent Voice 2.
Yes.
And it's just got to be like the epilogue of this movie. That's all I care about. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more character because I don't really care about going through the rest of them. This character. This is Yuzuru, which is Shoko's sister. What do you think of her?
I like her. She is what it means to be a sister. I mean, she protects Shoko with all her heart, and I really, really enjoy that in a character. It was interesting me to see. I couldn't tell at the beginning if she was actually a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
It's very hard
Androgynous.
in anime to tell if they don't outright give any clues or say that they're a boy or a girl. It's very hard to tell. So I really did think she was a boy, and I thought she was Shoko's admirer.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I thought like she just says that she's her boyfriend because she can't hear or know any better. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then we find out she's her sister, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Which that ties together the story much better.
She's just making sure that her sister is protected, and I really enjoyed this character. It was interesting to see. I've never seen a character like this.
Yeah, very interesting.
in
Very
anime
unique.
movies. Yeah, very unique type of character, but I really
Did you
enjoyed
think
her.
whenever this is a big spoiler, so if you've been listening to this point, you have been spoiler alert. Did you think that whenever she was going to the grandmother's funeral that it was Shokyo at first? Because that's what I thought.
No, I didn't. I knew it was the
When it was the grandma. When it said funeral for and then I only read like SH, I'm like, oh my god, the sister killed herself.
No, I could tell.
Because she had that dream, she was having that dream where she like tried to kill herself or something like that.
No, what foreshadowed it is the fact that they were having tea before they went to bed.
So you knew it had to be the grandmother.
I kind of knew it had to be the grandma. I kind of know this about movies. Like, a lot of movies will not kill the main character like that, especially if they're so important. It's trying to get
Game
to
of
some...
Thrones.
Yeah, and it's trying to get to some type of end goal, so I definitely knew it was the grandma.
Do you think that Shoko had tried to kill herself in the past? Because she was having, the sister, Yuzuru, was having all of those, like, flashback kind of memory dream things. I couldn't tell if she was just having a dream or if she literally tried to kill herself in the past and that was a memory.
That is a good observation because it can definitely be shown in the way that the sister and mother are so protective over her. Maybe she had done something in the past to hurt herself. Maybe that's why she was transferred or taken out of that school that she was in with Shoya, because she had tried to previously hurt herself. That's a very good theory.
So, I guess my final question is, what are your final thoughts of the movie as a whole? Lay it all out there for me. What are your final thoughts?
I enjoyed it beginning, middle, but just the end. I could have left it to where they kind of came to terms with that they liked each other and that, he was healed after saving her, and it just could have been left somewhere else. It just didn't need to keep going on for that long. I mean, 2 hours for a movie, that's unless it's Marvel, I ain't watching that.
Okay, so where do you rank this versus Your Name, that movie that we watched not too long ago? Because those two are always being compared.
Your Name is definitely 1000% better.
Ooh, I don't know if I agree
A Silent
with you.
Voice. Are you
serious? It's a tough call.
Okay. With Your Name, at least the ending went somewhere. They came back to each other after what had happened. But this, it was just weird. It's just like, it didn't really make sense. It didn't need to go that. At least with Your Name, we got some sort of ending, some sort of conclusion, and we felt good that they at least knew in some weird way who they were.
Yeah, and they kind of came back together.
Yeah, they came back together. That's a happy ending.
I don't know, but I just really like all the tropes and whatnot in this movie more, I think. I don't know. It's a tough call for me. It could go either way. So where does it rank in your top... Where did the last 3 anime movies we've watched rank? So it was Princess Mononoke. I always say that wrong. Princess Mononoke, Your Name, and A Silent Voice. Where do they rank?
Okay, you didn't even put this one in the ranking, but I really liked that gold One Piece movie.
Oh, One Piece film gold? You like that?
Yes, I really did like it.
Oh, really? I didn't expect that. So where would you rank all 4 of those then?
Let's see.
I need to show you more One Piece movies. I didn't know you liked that.
I think I wouldn't like One Piece as a show, but definitely a movie. It's entertaining enough. I just feel like for a show, it wouldn't be for me, but for a movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know why, but I always think about that when you ask me about my anime movies. Okay, so I would rank Princess Mononoke. I would rate Princess Mononoke number 1. I would rate the One Piece movie number 2.
I never saw that coming.
I would rate Your Name number 3, and Silent Voice definitely last. Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough. Out of those 4, I would go. A Silent Voice and Your Name are kind of interchangeable to me, and then Princess Mononoke, and then Film Gold after that. So Film Gold would be my number 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there better One Piece movies?
It's debatable. Some people like certain ones more than others.
I really enjoyed that.
We should watch another one. I didn't know you really liked it that much.
I did. I liked the different vibe it gave. I liked how they got stuck in some type of casino type world and that they had to, break free from that. I really liked it. I liked that everything was gold. It was very entertaining.
So basically what you're hearing right now, folks, is that our next episode in this series is going to be on One Piece Stampede, which I didn't think was an option.
Is that a movie?
Yeah, it's the most recent one.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty good. I liked it. I saw it in theaters.
You saw that in theaters?
Yeah, I saw it with Albert.
Oh my
in theaters. So anyways, that's going to be it for our video today, guys. Definitely... Wait, hold on. I forgot. This is your thing. Make sure to like, comment... Let me tell you what to say. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload.
My poor brain, it just... Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit... What?
You said subscribe.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never miss a video.
Close enough. All right, guys. This has been Tyler Doe and Kennedy Doe, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
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 Bye.